Where were you on September 11th, 2001?
I was initially I was in my then office in the EOB, and then after the first, as I recall, after the first building was hit, I was in the council's office on the second floor of the West Wing for the next few minutes. Then we were all told to go down to the bottom of the West Wing, and then we were all evacuated. And I think the thought was Flight 93 might have been heading for the White House. It might have been heading here, and Secret Service. We were being hustled out, and then kind of panicked, started screaming at us, sprint, run, and we sprinted out. My wife was a few steps ahead of me. She was President Bush's personal aide at the time, and we sprinted out. She was wearing a black and white check shirt, I remember. And we sprinted out the front gate, kind of into Lafayette Park, and no iPhones or anything like that. BlackBerries at that point in time, we didn't have that, and our cell phones didn't work, so we were all just kind of out there. And then I remember somehow ending up seeing on TV down more on Connecticut Avenue, there were TVs out at the Mayflower Hotel. I remember I was with Sarah Taylor, who worked at the White House, and we were watching as standing with her when the buildings fell.
So when somebody says post 9/11 that we've been at war, and it's called the war on terrorism, do you generally agree with that concept?
I do, Senator, because Congress passed the authorization for use of military force, which is still in effect, and that was passed, of course, on September 14th, 2001, 3 days later.
Let's talk about the law in war. Is there a body of law called the law of armed conflict?
There is such a body, Senator.
Is there a body of law that's called basic criminal law?
Yes, Senator.
Are there differences between those two bodies of law?
Yes, Senator.
From an American citizen's point of view, do your constitutional rights follow you? If you're in Paris, does the Fourth Amendment protect you as an American from your own government?
From your own government, yes.
Okay. So if you're in Afghanistan, do your constitutional rights protect you against your own government?
If you're an American in Afghanistan, you have constitutional rights as against the U.S. government.
Is there a long-standing...
That's long-settled law.
Isn't there also a long-settled law that it goes back to the Eisentrager case? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, Johnson versus Eisentrager.
Right. That American citizens who collaborate with the enemy have considered enemy combatants.
They can be.
They
can be. They're sometimes criminally prosecuted, sometimes treated in the military.
Well, let's talk about can be. I think
under Supreme Court precedent.
Right. There's a Supreme Court decision that said that American citizens who collaborated with Nazi saboteurs were tried by the military. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I think a couple of them were executed.
Yeah.
So if anybody doubts, there's a long-standing history in this country that your constitutional rights follow you wherever you go, but you don't have a constitutional right to turn on your own government and collaborate with the enemy of the nation. You'll be treated differently. What's the name of the case, if you can recall, that reaffirmed the concept that you could hold one of our own as an enemy combatant if they were engaged in terrorist activities in Afghanistan? Are you familiar with that case?
Yeah, Hamdi.
Okay. So the bottom line is, on every American citizen, no, you have constitutional rights, but you do not have a constitutional right to collaborate with the enemy. There's a body of law well-developed long before 9/11 that understood the difference between basic criminal law and the law of armed conflict. Do you understand those differences?
I do understand that there are different bodies of law, of course, Senator.
Okay,